All right, people. Evolutionary astrology versus ancient astrology. It's about time we had this little conversation, this debate, if you will. I think that there comes a time that either we discuss this so that we can actually get down to the core of what's going on with these two philosophies. What do they have in common? What do they have in that's different? Those are some good questions we should ask ourselves. I think that with evolutionary astrology, it has some good points to it. Growth, change, those kinds of things that you see within the astrological system itself. You can actually see how over time human effort and human observation has been put to the test over thousands and many thousands of years and stuff. And I think that that's more an embodiment of the human spirit, human soul, especially when we're talking about as above, so below. That's a mystic phrase that everybody who's usually involved in some kind of spiritualism is going to be familiar with, especially astrology. You're going to be familiar with that phrase. And it just so happens that with ancient astrology, to me, this is just my opinion, it seems that ancient astrology is rooted in a form of solidarity. That very much like anyone you see who's stuck in their ways, very earthy, very Taurian, very Capricornian, and things like that, yes. And that we don't take much of account into the outer planets and things like that. They stay rooted in a specific dynamic that they use. With me, I feel that you got to be careful with stuff like that. You got to be careful. You should also be careful of new things that are being introduced in the realm of astrology as well. But in particularly when it comes to ancient astrology, there are many ancient astrologers that you can find on YouTube. I've listened to a lot of them. Particularly, I listened to one last night, a particular channel where this guy was mentioning how there's a lot of finicky and false things that were going on with modern astrology, astrology, and getting into how like the outer planets are being put in their respective houses. Neptune, Pluto, Uranus. These planets are kind of like, at the moment, Pluto being in Scorpio is there because we don't really understand the nature of these planets or something like that. Which that actually could be true, guys. That really could be the case, that we really don't understand the nature of certain planets, and especially the outer planets like Pluto and stuff. It would make a lot of sense that it would be very difficult to be able to keep up with those, follow those rotations and things like that, depending on what time of what time in history we're talking about here. Modern history, we should be able to see Pluto and Neptune. I mean, at the current time, the present time, we should be able to see Pluto and Neptune, have all where they're located and all this kind of stuff, if these planets actually do exist in the heavens physically. But of course, I think there's an issue with astronomy as well. I think astronomy, it's also problematic. But that's going to be a video for another time. Right now, I'm just focused on these two different types of astrology, and ancient astrology. I think ancient astrology is rooted in solidarity. That's what I think. And of course, it is useful still. There's some things that it might actually be more accurate in than the newer astrology. There's knowledge is forgotten all the time. I'm just going to say that right now. Knowledge is forgotten all the time. So with that being said, it is possible that there could be some things in ancient astrology that are accurate, but there also could be flaws that have not been, things that are old, or things that may have been the result of some kind of like, self-righteousness, ego, centrism. These things happen even in the past, guys. The same way we have con men today, in the past we have the same way we have cons today, we have had cons in the past. Okay, people who or in some cases, it's not someone who's trying to con someone, But we've had intellectual figures who come into a situation and then they say, okay, we're going to establish something and this is the way it's going to be. We've had that happen many times in history before. The past, I don't think those people would be immune to those kinds of things. Order, when it comes to dealing with authority figures of the times, especially in the Roman times, they had astrologers and all that kind of stuff. Astrology was very well and alive during the times when the Romans were around. Okay, that was kind of like, that's basically like a religion to them. That's what it was. They actually knew, okay, Mercury, Mars, Venus, all of them, where they were in the heavens and stuff like that. Believed that these planets were gods. Not only are they actually God, archetypal deities and things that can bestow powers to them, but actually had a system by which they could observe them, see their influences and things like that. Back during the Roman Empire. Even during the Greeks and stuff, could look up at the planets and see them and everything, and had names for them and all that stuff. I mean, so this stuff where they were like, okay, we're coming out with this new astrology system that takes into account new bodies, new heavenly bodies that our ancients could not see. Okay, so if you're sitting here and you're going to champion ancient astrology, you have to really get into the context of these things, deep into the various in which there are exactly what they're trying to pinpoint. I think, like I'm saying, ancient astrology has its purpose. I'm sure it has its whatever it is that it's bringing to the table, but I think that there comes a time where we do have to move on and we have to try to discover new meanings in life, and because we exist currently in modern times as human beings separate from those of old in terms of our ideology and things like that, our technological advances that we've made. Look at these things, how we've structured homes in the ways that we do. We've built these huge towering buildings, skyscrapers and stuff like that. Look at all that logic and stuff like that we've accumulated, whereas people in the past are probably more faith-based. I mean, of course they're logical as well, but they were unable to meet their needs in the way that we can today, in the vast way that we do, to be able to feed a population of 8 billion people almost. Okay, think about that. So it's not saying that just because we're a more advanced civilization that we're somehow better or anything like that per se, but because their knowledge can be lost all the time. It is, and recovered at times too. It could be that in modern astrology we are lacking critical information when it comes to the behavior of these planets that the ancients were able to observe, be it because it was in Europe at a specific time, the skies were clear, there wasn't pollution. You got to look at all these kinds of things. Okay, all these particular type of factors. You got to combine the intellectual mind with the soul body as well, or with the emotion. A lot of people are sitting here trying to feel things out all the time and getting emotional, and that is good. I think emotion, intuition has its purpose, but it also has its detriment. The fact that feelings are vague and could be anything. It could be animals that give you certain feelings and stuff like that are in your environment, because they have life force just like we do. And you could have a huge congregation of animals that are around you that could, or other types of things that can do this. It's situations that can cause you to feel things. People driving the house, environmental things can really start to affect how you feel. And a lot of us, I think, we're so quick to just say that it's our soul sometimes, and it could be too. It could be that the soul is that particular thing that allows us to feel things. But I don't think that just because we get certain feelings, it implies that there's some kind of clear-cut meaning to it all the time. Especially when we're living in a world where there's a lot of noise. And we have light pollution. Think about that, what light pollution can do to our perception. People don't pay attention to that as well. How light pollution can cause people to become more, they're starting to figure out it can cause people to become tiresome, and they have less energy because of it. They have less focus because of all the pollution and light. Whereas people in the past, they had the candles and things like that. It could even be clear mind, their diet. This is detailed. Virgo stellium. All you stellium people, come on now. Incorporate that left brain mind with the right in order to figure this out. The intellectual mind is the key, guys. I'm telling you. It is definitely, if you're just trying to sit there and think that you want to be comfortable and rooted in solidarity, in ancient astrology, you don't want to look up at the heavens and see that there are new bodies that are changing just like we change. You don't have to be planets. I don't think the planets are going to be changed anytime soon. You know what I'm saying, to be honest with you. But it could be meteors, things that we can actually pick up. We need to start using our physical, whatever, our technology that we have, observing the stars, the physical things that are there, that are really there, and then tying that in with astrology. I don't understand why we should have an observation center somewhere where we're looking at all the asteroids, the planets, every single thing made available live. That could be done digitally. I don't even understand why it's there might be. I just haven't found it online yet. But there should be something where you can literally observe these planets, their rotations. The astronomers, this is what you guys are supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be involved in the physicality, the whole physical nature of these things when it comes to these planets, and using rockets to travel and get close and get real intimate with the subject. You should be able to do this. And then we can bring it together. Okay, take the astronomers and their belief, what they've got going, their work that they're doing, and the astrologers and what they're doing. Take those things, combine them together, come up with some kind of consensus to what really applies in our reality, what's really happening and what doesn't. And then bam, we should be able to have a clear-cut answer, guys, with this kind of stuff. And as to the what things that pertain to the nature of the soul, I can get into that later, okay, when it comes down to stuff like that. But yeah, man, when it comes down to astrology, ancient astrology, we're gonna have to have that discussion. That debate is gonna have to happen eventually. Okay. Again, I've already put some points on, just if it does happen, if we get to see this, hopefully people come to the channel and they see what I'm doing here. If you want to debate on it, I'm ready. Anyone wants to go to defending astrology or ancient astrology or whatever, want to see if we can either reconcile the two, or we can sort of poke at the flaws and see, okay, where is this particular system strong, where is it weak? So I'm open to doing that, either or.